Okay, so welcome back, and in this lesson we're going to finish off our content for our footer. We're going to blast through this because a lot of this is text based, and there's only a few little things that we need to look at more closely. So without further ado then, let's get cracking. So the next bit will be the other links section. Very straightforward. What we're going to do, we're going to bring our guys back, and then we're going to give ourselves a bit of room. So with the other links title selected, the move tool is going to shift that over a little bit. Okay, then we're going to go to the custom shape tool, and we're going to choose an arrow. So bring up your shape picker, and I'm going to choose one of the preset arrows there. Everybody's got that, and their shapes. And then I'm going to create a new layer, and I'll pull that down underneath other links title. And I'm actually going to quickly, no wait, I was going to group them together, but we'll leave that for now. Okay, so on this new layer then, it's going to bring this up a bit so we can see, zoom in a bit, and it's going to create our arrow. Now we're going to use a brown colour. The brown colour is the same colour as our See All Works button, which makes sense. And just click and drag a little arrow about there. Then with that layer still selected, I'm just going to make a few more copies. Okay, that will do. Then I'm going to distribute all those vertical centers. Okay, so with those layers selected, go to your move tool, up to the options bar, we click distribute vertical centers. Okay, so that's looking good. Hide our layers now, and then we need to add our links, which is about us, recent works. In fact, those arrows are a little bit bigger, so we'll just shift them down a bit. Doesn't particularly matter. Okay, so with the text tool or type tool selected, change it to white. Keep the pixel size to 12, and just type out our links. I'm going to shift that in using the move tool. Then I'm going to copy that, shift that in position. Then I'll change this one to recent works. If I can spell it right. This one will be request a quote. Request a quote. Support. And this one can be question why mobile. And then just to make sure that they're all in lines, just shift them down, get the Y mobile and about us correct, and then just select them all again, distribute vertical centers. And what we're going to do now is drag a guide down just above our blog image, and then just shift all our other links with our arrows. With our arrows, and shift them down. Then group our arrows together. So arrows, and then group our list together. Let's call these list. Then group all that together into other links group, and we're all organised. Nice and tidy, nice and organised. So next up then with the recent tweets, what we're going to use is a social icon that we grab from Icon Finder. So if you open up your web browser, in a search field, just type in 2bird Twitter, And what you'll do is get the exact icon that I use, which is this one here, and download that, open it up in Photoshop, pull that down, and then just drag that in. And all we need to do now is to give that some layer styles. In fact, we need to make it slightly smaller, so just Control T, bring it down slightly, then double click the layer, its layer, to bring up this layer styles, and we want to give it a gradient overlay. Open up the gradient editor, and we'll just change this to the light grey, all the C's. Okay, then we want to give it a drop shadow, change the angle to 120 begin with, and then blend mode normal, white, as we do for our letterpress effect. Just want to give it a subtle design, and then give an inner shadow. Actually, go back to drop shadow, we're going to turn it right up. Inner shadow, again 120, change that down to 1 and 0. Yeah, 100. Okay, so we're going to position that same place as our in line with our about link. Okay, then we're going to just add in our text. That would just be an at your tweet, whatever the text was. So whatever the tweet was, we're going to do that. Okay, right, take a while guys, we can see what we're doing. Then I want to copy all that. Okay, so select both the layers and layers palettes, and then just bring them down. We've done 3, haven't we? Yep. So the last one, just bring that down there, then the middle ones. Then all we need to do is to grab our divider. That's in our blog section, our blog group. There's our divider. Just drag that into the new icon layer, shift that across, position it where we want. One there, and then we'll copy that and drag that down into there. And with those layers selected, we can Control T and just shift that down, both at the same time. Super. Then, and we will say our newsletter section is going to be pretty simple. Just need to shift that over, but first of all, let's just clean up our layers palette. These dividers need to be in our tweets, and that all needs to be in a, it's just the icon, isn't it? Yeah. That needs to be in its own group, so we call that our recent tweets. Make sure it's all in there. And then newsletter, just move that over, bring back our guides, move that over to about there, give it some room, and just need a bit, add a bit of text, so grab some Lorem Ipsum. Then we can use our text tool, white selected, and just drag out that to about there. We'll come down to about there, just copy our Lorem Ipsum in there. Open up our character palettes and just change the font down to 12, and I believe that is quite a different colour, so we'll change that to light grey. might change that to 13 actually. Change that down to 13. But you just drag that up into there, so it's nice and aligned with everything else. So with the rounded rectangle tool selected in the tools panel, with white as your foreground, we'll keep the radius to 6 up there in the options bar, and we'll create a new layer, and then we'll just drag out our email field. Sorry. Hide our guides. Then we might want to give that some inner shadow, and do that to 1, 1. Actually, make that to 1, 0, 2. Okay, that. Then our button again, we'll add the. I'll keep to the rectangle, rounded rectangle tool. And we'll have shape layers selected this time, so go up to shape layers into your options bar and just drag out our button, subscribe button. Okay, so what we can do now then is just quickly resize that down slightly. That's a little bit too big. Then double click the thumbnail, the shape layer thumbnail, and I want to give this a colour of 4A6D77. Then we're going to give it some layer styles, so open up the layer styles, right click on it, and then we're going to give it a drop shadow. Bring down the opacity to 20, about 25, 26, that'll do. Change that to 120. Do that as 101. Okay, so it's a subtle drop shadow. We're going to give it an inner shadow. This time, instead of using black, we're going to use white. So blend mode will be normal. Go to white. Change the angle to 120, and that'll be 101 again. And the opacity needs to come down to about 40%. It's a nice little shine around the edge there. And lastly, we'll give it a gradient overlay. We'll change the blend mode to soft light, and then bring the opacity down to about 50%. Okay, that's it. Then add our text. Change the foreground to white, pressing D and X key on your keyboard. Keep it to Seago UI, and just write in subscribe. Okay, it might be a little bit bigger than that, but change the font size of that quickly. Just go up to about 15, and then position it. And just need to add an email into the email field. Just some email text. Okay, just create change the font to Arial. Bring it down to about 12 pixels, and give the foreground colour a light grey, and in there just type email ... In fact, you want to give it a bit more darker. And that is our content finished. Might need to just move our email field up a little bit. It's just a case of messing around with it. Again, we want to make sure we're all nice and tidy in here. This is all our email newsletter content. That's the email field, and that's the newsletter title. So select all that, group it, call it newsletter, Make sure it's all in there. Call this button. Might want to group your button because you might want to use that elsewhere, so just group that together. Let's call that button. Okay, so that is it. Next up, we will use same social icon as this and a few others for down here. Then we had our copyright, and then we'll quickly go through a bit about the UX design and stuff like that. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next lesson.